Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Kenneth Suna. I talk about money, day trading, swing trading, investing, living below your means, minimalism, so you can all hopefully retire one day. And yes, I'm dressed like Santa. That's because Stock Santa is back. If you don't know who Stock Santa is, every year in December, I dress up like Santa. We talk about investing. I just wear a Santa hat. It's a little holiday gimmick. But I wanted to talk today about investing and health and finding what's right for you, because I'm a big believer that health is wealth, health equals wealth, whatever you want to say. And without the health part of the equation, all the wealth in the world doesn't really seem to matter that much. You know, I can rattle off story after story after story of people that I know personally, or stories that we've all heard stories of. You know, the guy who worked and worked and worked and worked and worked with the eye on retirement. Day he retired, heart attack, and he's dead, right? We all hear stories like that. Or bought a house on a golf course and then had a stroke a year into retirement and could never play golf again. You know, all these horror stories that we hear of people who spend their whole lives working. They get, the average lifespan, I don't know, mid 70s, early 80s in the United States, I'm guessing. This is your life, right? All the way here is school and work. This is working, and then this everything to the right of my hand, or however you're looking at this on your phone, everything past this hand is retirement. And then you're dead. And we hear so frequently, especially me, because I'm in the finance space on TikTok, we hear people say, I don't want to save and invest for retirement because I could die tomorrow. So I'm going to live my life the way I want. And yes, it's possible. You could die tomorrow. You could get sick. You could get hit by a bus. You could be in a car accident. Horrible things happen to very young people all the time. People don't always make it to retirement, but a lot of people do. And I would wager that the people who lived beyond their means in their youth thinking, hey, I might die tomorrow, and now they're 75 and they're looking at their finances going, oh my God, I have no money. Wish maybe that they had bought fewer cars or fewer designer clothes or fewer gadgets and tech and stuff like that, and just put a little bit aside for retirement. And people always say, well, it might not be enough. It might not be enough. Inflation, it might not be enough. $1 million today might equal 600,000 30 years from now, or $500,000 or less than that. So what's the point? Man, I tell you what, there's not a single retired person on the planet, especially people who are struggling with their financial picture or maybe not able to retire, who would turn down $300,000 or $400,000. Even if it was $1 million 40 years ago, and it's now worth, $500,000 or $250,000, they still wouldn't say, what's it gonna do? They would take it in a second, because even if it means that they're not able to retire, even if it means that they can't retire, or they can't, travel excessively like they had dreamed, that little bit of money, that $250,000, would make a world of difference for them in one way or another. There's so many older people who become burdens on their kids because they didn't plan. And now they're moving in with their family, and the family is stressing because it's another mouth to feed. It's a parent who, and they can spin it however they want. Oh, my parents are moving in. Isn't that great? They can take care of the kids. They can help with they might not be able to. You might end up having 2 young children and an elderly parent who is, in a way, like a young child who needs help getting dressed or help getting in and out of the shower. That little $250,000 could be used to hire some help around the house. People say, well, I might die tomorrow. Well, how awful that you didn't die and that you lived to retirement, right? Oh no, I'm so sad. Now you've lived to retirement, but you have no money. Don't make that mistake. On the other hand, you hear people who aren't taking care of themselves when they're young and they're able to, and they get to a certain age, and it's a very similar mindset of, I'll invest later. I'm not going to worry about it. Or, people who now aren't taking care of their health. They're not eating right. They're not stretching. They're not lifting weights. They're not watching their diet. They're not taking care of themselves. Maybe they're drinking too much, or they're smoking, or whatever it is. And they go, I'll worry about it later. Worry about it later. It's the same mindset as the I'll invest later crowd. You end up at a point where it's too late. And I hear it all the time. I get DMs on TikTok once a week, twice a week from people who are 50s, 60s, 70s going, hey, I've never invested. Is it too late? Is it too late? I would imagine for personal trainers, who get bombarded with DMs from people who are, hi, I'm 70 and I've never lifted weights. Is it too late? Look, it's never that it's too late. It's just that it's going to be an uphill battle. I see it at my gym, the gym that I go to. It's full of elderly people who have never lifted weights in their life, and they get a health scare and they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, you got to take better care of yourself. And all of a sudden, that realization that if they don't, their time is over. It's up. One bad fall, one cold can turn into pneumonia, and they could be dead in the blink of an eye. And that's when they get serious about it. Don't be those people. Don't be the person waiting to get in shape in your 60s. Do it now. It's a lot harder when you're in your 60s. People get so afraid when they're 60. Oh, what if I get hurt? What if I trip? What if I fall? Start getting that stuff down now when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s. So you're not in your 50s, 60s, 70s going, oh no, I'm in bad shape. I have a weak core. I can't balance. I can't stand. I can't bend over. What if I trip? What if I fall? It's the same mindset as the people who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s going, I'm not going to invest. I could die tomorrow. So I'm going to blow all my money. I'm going to buy a Lamborghini, even though I can't afford it. I'm going to buy a Mercedes, even though I can't afford it. I'm going to live in the trendiest part of town, even though I can't afford it. Even if it's not excessively flaunty things like nice apartments, nice cars, it could be every year I'm going to get a new iPhone. Every year I'm going to buy myself the new PlayStation, or a new Xbox, or whatever new gadget comes out. Or I'm going to splurge. I'm going to buy myself little treats here and there. Maybe, maybe it's a Kate Spade handbag, or a Gucci bag, or a Louis Vuitton bag, or a pair of, Louboutin shoes. I don't know. Whatever it is. Maybe it's a Rolex watch or an Omega. Whatever the scale is, that's money that could have been invested for your future. And I'm not saying also that you should deprive yourself of things you want. It's a very good point. You could die tomorrow. This idea that you're gonna, but the thing is, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. It can be both. It can absolutely be, life is short and I want to enjoy it. I'm a big believer in that too. Except for me, it's more experience-based. I don't want to be 70 years old trying to map out, can we go on a trip like this? Is it going to be too taxing for me? Is it too much walking? Is there going to be a place for me to sit down? Or what if I get tired? Oh, my knees, my hip, my lower back. It's a 10-hour flight. What if it's too hard? I don't want to be 70 having that conversation, going, man, I should have traveled when I was younger. So I'm absolutely a big proponent of finding the things you want and that bring you joy and balance. I'm not excessively traveling now because it's very expensive, but I'm also not pushing it all off and saying, I'll do it later. I'll do it when I'm older, when I have all that money. Unfortunately, a lot of people look at the same equation of balance in I think you might disagree, the wrong way, which is I'm going to buy the things I want instead of the experiences I want. We have this idea that a Mercedes or a BMW or a Lamborghini makes us look more important or makes us feel better about ourselves. And that's something I think we should have a conversation with ourselves about, why we feel the need to impress strangers on the internet with a Lamborghini, why we want to look rich to strangers, why we have that internal desire to impress people we don't know with things that we can barely afford. And I'm not talking about the people who can go out and afford it and it's no big deal. They buy the Lamborghini and everything is good and they have endless money supply and no big deal. Fine, those people I'm not talking to. I'm talking to the people who maybe they buy a pre-owned Mercedes or pre-owned Range Rover because it makes them feel good and wow, you're rich, you have a Range Rover. Why? For me, I would rather have the experience. I would rather look at that Range Rover or that BMW or that pre-owned Porsche or whatever and go, yeah, it's a nice car, it looks cool, but it gets me to the same place. And if that same place is a job, all that expensive car does is tether you to the thing that you hate. So I'm not about that. For me, I'd rather say, man, this car payment would be $800 a month or $1,200 a month, or I could get a pre-owned Civic. It's not cool, but let's maybe try to change that way we look at what's cool and not cool. A Honda Civic is definitely not cool. A Porsche is cooler. Porsche is cooler every single time. And if you can afford the Porsche, hey, fine. But for someone who cannot afford the Porsche and is going to kill yourself working in a job you hate so you can have the thing that gets you to the job that you hate, I don't know, call me crazy. I'd rather have the Honda. I'd rather have a cheap pre-owned Civic that gets good mileage, and the money that I'm saving by not buying that Porsche or that pre-owned Range Rover or whatever, I can then invest. And that money can help me get to my goal of retirement sooner. You know, I don't want to retire when I'm 70. I want to be retired when I'm in my early 50s. That's my goal. You know how much money that's going to cost? A lot. So I'm weighing it right now. I'm not saying, oh, I want this money for 40 years from now when I'm in my 90s. I want that money when I'm in my 50s. I want my freedom. I want my life. I want my time to do things. That's ultimate luxury to me. That's the ultimate luxury. I don't know if I look stupid with this hat on. I'm already going on here. What is it? 10 minutes? Maybe we should just wrap the video here. But, you know, you can't have one without the other. You got to take care of yourself if you want to, if you want to retire. You can't invest, but not go to the gym. And you can't push it. You can't push it off. You know, the last thing you want is to be the 50-year-old DMing some person on TikTok going, what's the right investment for me? Start now. That's the most important thing. Start now with everything, with taking care of yourself. Find what works for you. I get it. Not everyone likes the gym. Find what works for you. Not everyone likes investing. Find what works for you. You know how people always say when you get to the gym, someone will come up to you who's really not passionate about it. They don't love going to the gym. I love going to the gym. But they'll come up to you and they'll go, it's just not one of those days. You relate. You get it, right? You have days like that where you just show up and you don't really want to be here. Honestly, I've never had one of those days, because in my eyes, even if I'm not feeling it, I'm there. So I'm working towards my goal. I'm improving my health. I'm getting stronger, whatever the thing may be. So no, I don't feel like, I'd rather, one of those days, don't really feel like being here, because I love it. So find a way to love it. Find a way to love investing too. If you don't care about it, index funds. If you follow me on TikTok, you know I'm a big believer in talking about the foundation, right? Start with the foundation. And by the way, if you don't know how to invest, right here, kennethsuna.com, my website, has a free resource guide. It's in the menu. I got a lot of boomers who follow me. A lot of boomers who go, well, I looked, I couldn't find it. Menu. It's right here, or if you're on your phone, it might be down here. It's the 3 little bars. Click on the menu. It'll pop up, free resource guide. Totally free. There's no email. There's no sign up. There's no PayPal, no Patreon. I'm not trying to get your email so I can sell your information or have you on my email list so I can sell you a product later. It's just there, right there on the website. Totally free resource guide. Find a way that makes you excited about investing. And like I said, the foundation. Foundation, S&P 500 index funds. Everyone should have a strong foundation. You move one level up from that, and we're still in the ETF ballpark. Maybe dividends, maybe growth, tech, real estate investment trusts. Can you hear that? They're putting a new roof on my building. Real estate investment trusts. That's not a ETF, but same vein. Broad market stuff. Tech, dividends, REITs. That's level 2. Level 3 foundation, individual stocks. Maybe you're passionate about tech and you want to own Apple stock and Nvidia stock and Microsoft stock. Maybe you want to own some fast casual restaurants that you're personally a big fan of, like Cava, Chipotle, McDonald's, whatever. Maybe you want a diversified portfolio outside of your ETFs. Maybe there's a sector you're really interested in. Maybe it's green energy or electric vehicles. You want to own some of those stocks individually. And then finally, the last level, the smallest part, speculative investments. I'm talking ultra high risk stuff. Maybe it's something you heard on social media. Maybe someone came and said, hey, here's a hot stock or a hot, cool crypto, a new coin or whatever it is. And you hear it and you go, ooh, that's exciting. That's the smallest part. Unfortunately, most new and inexperienced investors do the opposite. They go largest with the highest risk stuff. And I get it. It's because people want to get rich and they want to get rich fast. It is expensive to be alive. But speculative investments have the most likelihood of just absolutely wrecking you, taking all your hard-earned money. You hear stories about it because it makes videos go viral. You hear stories on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or whatever. People say, I bought this high-risk stock or this crypto and it went up and I made $1 million. And we hear it and we go, well, I'm just going to buy the next crypto or the next penny stock I see. Roll the dice, hope for the best. This is not a strategy. This speculative investments is the fastest way to get wrecked if you don't know what you're doing. So make it the smallest part. But like I said, new investors make it the biggest part. And then they hear about dividends and S&P 500 index funds, 9% and 3% dividends, and blah, blah, blah. And they go, nah, that's boring. I'm going to buy a little of that and a lot of this risk. Because if the risk pays off, not always a good idea. Anyway, the little ticker up here says 15 minutes. That's 15 minutes of me yammering on. If you found this video helpful or interesting, or you like what we talk about here on this channel, please hit the subscribe, the bell, the notifications. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.